Greg the Singing Chef. Today I have a wonderful side dish recipe for you, utilizing what I think is one of the most underrated vegetables, easily grown, pretty inexpensive, and I think you're gonna love it. We are going to make today a cheesy zucchini casserole for a side dish, and I think you're really gonna love it. I've got these sort of small to medium sized zucchinis, and I had about 5 of them. This is the 5th one. And all I've done is I've taken a box grater and I'm grating those down to the stem into a colander that's sitting in a large mixing bowl. There's a lot of liquid in zucchinis, and so my point is to try to get as much of that liquid out of the vegetable once it is shredded as possible, because you don't want that moisture to get into your casserole, or your casserole just won't really set very well. All right, so this is the 5th one. Just gonna grate this in. You could actually probably do the same type recipe with yellow squash if that's what you had, or that's what was for a good deal at your supermarket. But I like zucchini in it because I think that the zucchini actually stands up a little bit better than yellow squash. I've had squash casseroles all the time, but I think zucchini kind of gets a bad rep, and that, well, what am I gonna do with it? I mean, you can make zucchini fries for sure. You could roast them, I suppose, with some cheese. Or there's the good old standby of zucchini bread. But for a full side dish, there aren't a ton of recipes out there. And so I think you're gonna really like this one to add to your arsenal. So just take the stem, toss that to the side. Make sure you get all of the shreds out of your box grater and down into this colander. All right, set that to the side as well. All right, so this step is also pretty important. I'm gonna sprinkle all of this zucchini that I've grated with salt. A pretty heavy handed pinch of salt, and toss that salt into the zucchini. That's actually gonna help release some liquid, and I'm gonna let it sit in that salt for about 10 minutes. It's gonna release a ton of liquid. That's why I have the colander inside a bowl, so that it can actually catch as much of that moisture as possible as it comes out of our zucchini. All right, gonna set this to the side for 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, y'all, we are back. I've waited for about 10 minutes and let the salt really get into this zucchini, and you can see my colander is dripping. There's already, like, gosh, probably already 5 or 6 tablespoons of water that's released. To make sure that I've got all that liquid out, I'm gonna do this. I have just a regular dish towel here. I'm gonna spread it out, and then the zucchini that is in the colander, I'm just gonna dump out into this dish towel. I do this same process when I'm making tzatziki for like Greek dishes, a beautiful yogurt sauce that actually has cucumber, grated cucumber in it, which also has a ton of liquid in it, to just try to get the liquid out. So we've salted it, dumped it out here on this towel. I'm just gonna fold it up into a little pouch. And then I'm gonna hold that pouch over this same bowl and squeeze and watch. Look at how much water is still coming out of that zucchini. That's crazy how much water is in there. So much liquid that we do not want in our casserole. All that water. Squeeze it pretty furiously so you get as much out as you possibly can. Really want your zucchini to be fairly dry shreds once you're done. That should be about good enough. All right. Now, I have 8 by 11 dish that I've already sprayed with cooking spray. And I'm actually going to use it not only as the dish that I bake this in, but also the dish that I mix everything together in. Why waste time washing another dish? All right, so the first thing I got to do is take all that zucchini out of this dish towel. Oops, I missed. There we go. Make sure I get all of it out of there. Perfect. Wipe up this water just to clean my station a little bit. Okay, so just going to kind of pinch this apart a little bit to make sure that it's all over the dish before I start adding anything to it. All right, so let's make some magic here. First thing I'm going to add is a half a cup of chopped onion into the pan, just a rough chop. It's probably about a half an onion, half a medium-sized onion. To that, I have about, I'd say, a tablespoon and a half of minced garlic. Spread that in there. Perfect. To that, I am adding a whole cup of finely shredded mozzarella cheese. This is the ooey gooey of it all. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Cheese makes me far too excited. It's a problem. I mean, but gosh. Speaking of cheese, here's some more. I have a half a cup of finely shredded cheddar cheese. It's going in the bowl. And lastly, a half a cup of grated parmesan. All that goes in there. All right. A little pinch of salt. Don't need much because of that parm and the salt that we've already added. But a pretty good pinch of black pepper just to season up everything. And last, I need 2 eggs that I'm just going to crack here into a bowl. Beautiful. Give those a little bit of a scramble with a fork. And then that also goes into our baking dish. Now, to make sure that every piece of zucchini gets some love from that cheese and from those eggs, I have a towel on standby, but we are going in with God's utensils. That is what we're going to use in this baking dish to just get in there and literally fold everything in the bowl. Get the onions in there with that zucchini. Oh my goodness gracious. This is going to be so good. Can't even stand it. Make sure you spread that all around. Get everything mixed together. Once you've combined everything in that dish, you're just going to take it, a little more mixing, Bradley. Just sort of pile it on top of itself, mix it in, until everything is nice and combined. And then you're just going to take that mixture and lightly press it down into your baking dish. Sort of in an even layer. And it's not even cooked yet, and it's so pretty. Like that green of the zucchini poking through with all the yellow from those cheeses is gorgeous. Take my dish towel, clean off my hand. I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. And I'm gonna cook this just like this, uncovered, for about 20 minutes. After that 20-minute mark, I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna show you how to make a little crunchy topping to go over this to give us some texture contrast. So I'm gonna put this in my 375-degree oven and I'll see you in 20. Hey y'all, we are back and I just took this zucchini casserole out of the oven to put our topping on. It's still here, it's bubbling, it's beautiful, all that beautiful green color coming through. In this bowl here for our topping, our crunchy topping to give us a little texture, I have about 1.25 cups of panko breadcrumbs. And then I'm also going to add to that about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, grated parm. Pretty good pinch of salt and a good pinch of black pepper. And I'm just going to stir that all together first. That's all the dry ingredients. And then to that, I've melted about 3 tablespoons of my favorite ingredient in the world, butter. That is going to get drizzled all into these breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese goodness. Just stir it together until you coat those breadcrumbs in the butter. Oh yeah. And that is it. That is the crunchy topping. Then all you have to do is take that Parmesan panko mixture and just sprinkle it all over your casserole in the dish. Nice coating everywhere. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. You can just sort of take your spoon and spread it over in an even layer. Don't want it to be too thick. You just really just want a crispy topping on the casserole. Oh my gosh, it smells so good already. It's not even finished. I think that is great. Perfect, so I'm gonna pop this back into that 375-degree oven for another 10 minutes just to crisp up and brown this topping, and then it is time to dig in. I'll be back in just a bit. Hey y'all, and welcome back. I've just taken this beautiful cheesy zucchini casserole out of the oven. The brown top on this is nice and crispy, crunchy goodness. I've got to show you this up close and personal. Look at that beauty. Perfect side dish for any and every meal. And you know I have got to have a taste of this. Just gonna scoop out a little bit. It's gonna be really hot because it just came out of the oven. Oh yeah. That ooey gooey cheesiness is calling my name. All right, I'm going in, y'all. Oh yeah. You can still taste the zucchini. The cheese isn't masking it, but it's perfect. We've got onion and garlic in there. That crunchy topping just makes it. Super easy side dish that could honestly replace another starch on your table if you wanted. It's a vegetable and it's green. It's just covered in cheese and butter, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on Bradley the Singing Chef. I hope you'll give this recipe a try and all the other ones. Please subscribe to my channel. Share these recipes with your friends and family. Eat well, love always. Bon appetit, y'all.